Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Noxus map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the north, ending with Team 2 in the south. Starting off with Team 1's Western player, and then working our way eastward, we have in Batman Gray, Team 1 Spectre Slave 137. He is a 1500 for this match, and he's playing as the Seraphim. To his north, we have a glow-in-the-dark green RNA. He is a Seraphim as well as a 1600. To his southeast, we have in emerald green Just Q as an Aeon. He is a 1500. In royal blue, to his east, we have in royal blue is Cups as a Cybern. He is a 1500. And last but not least, a 14-1, we have in Chevy Crimson MSG. He is an 1800. The highest rated player on Team 1 and tied for the highest rated player overall. And again, he is a Cybern for this match. And for Team 1 side of the map, they have 2 Cyberns, 2 Seraphim, 1 Aeon, which means Team 1 lacks UEF technology. Starting off with Team 1's northern player, then working our way southward, we have in Regal Purple, Team 2's Lufuke. I don't know how to say that name. I apologize now and ahead of time. I'm going to call him probably Lou for short, because I cannot pronounce names correctly for some reason. He is a Cybern for this match. He is an 1800, the highest rated player on Team 2, and the player with which he is tied for the highest rated overall is MSG on Team 1. To his west, right next door, moving his direction, we have Pepe's as a Seraphim in light oak tan. He is a 1400. To his south, we have in Pac-Man yellow, the Aeon player of Chicken O Vificus? I'm going to call him Chicken for short. He is, and again, an Aeon for this match as a 1600. And in Snow White to his southeast, we have as a Cybern Fur. He is a 1700. And last but not least, for Team 2 in forest green, the best color in all of Supreme Commanderdom. No biases here. Of course, he is an Aeon for this match, and his name is Air Player. Maybe he'll be the Air Player. Maybe he won't be the Air Player. Maybe he'll be a pseudo Air Player. I don't know. He at least is named Air Player, so we'll see if he does dive into the air technologies or not. And for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 Aeon, 2 Cyberns, and 1 Seraphim, which means Team 1 and Team 2 lack UEF technology. Apologies to those loyal to the old Earth Empire. Hopefully you will enjoy the game nonetheless. And let's go ahead to see how much mass our players have to scoop up in terms of reclaim. Currently sitting at a little over 8,000 for 10 players. So that's a little over 800 mass per player. Definitely not really a whole lot to write home about, but it's definitely not bad. We do see it's pretty much scattered around the map. There's a couple of 200s or so pretty close to our players, so nothing really a lot to fight over in the middle besides in this northeastern corner. But in terms of mass point layouts, we see that there's a decent amount of mexes in front of our main players for Team 2 and Team 1, but there's a quad mex position over here, as well as, I could call it a twin mex over there. They're kind of going to be shared most likely. I don't see really any situation where one player or one team's going to have this section, one team's going to have this section, and they're in a prolonged engagement. In the south, we do see a trimex position, as well as kind of more mexes dotted along the southern section of the map with, again, same situation in the northeast. Kind of mexes in the middle. I don't, again, see this kind of being one team has one side, one team has the other side. It's mainly going to be one team / one player grabbing those mexes in the southeast. And there are a decent chunk of mexes over here. I wouldn't call that a grouping. I just call that kind of a shotgun blast of mexes. But again, it is mexes. It is better than nothing. We do see that in the north, a gun upgrade has been started for Cups. He's almost done with that. We do see that Pepe's and Lou have crossed this little pond here. The only pond, I believe, in the game. Yep, that is the only pond. And decided to take the fight to their opponents. MSG trying to keep his facilities online. Looks like Pepe's might be going after the radar system. That'd be a great grab. MSG is going to fall into the water, and Team 2 will gain a decent amount of firepower because of that, just because they are denying the, well, 1, access to the water, and 2, the fact that, there is a kind of a retreat going on. But unfortunately for Team 2, there is a commander nearby of Cups who does have a gun upgrade done. Lou is going for the reclaim maneuver, going after all of the mass just invested here by MSG. We do see the gun is now in range of Pepe's and Lou's commander. MSG still holding strong. And, I mean, some of these players are going to fall pretty close to the red, if not in the red here shortly. Lou's still targetable, but he does get his head underneath the surface, and he does drop into the red. And I will point out here very briefly, I'll slow down for a second. Lou is at 2,500 hit points. We do see that Pepe's is at 4,400 and falling because there are one and more torpedo launchers coming online. MSG is at 3,300, and Cups is at 10,000. So if one of these players were to die, we could see a chain reaction here, depending on the player, depending on how much damage was done in one way or the other. We could see a chain reaction of 2 or more going up in flames, or in this case, big, giant, well, not super giant explosions, but decent explosions. We do see that these players from Team 2 are retreating, and Team 1 is sending reinforcements along the edge here. A couple of Medusa going after the naval facilities here for Team 2. We do see that in the southwest, fighting has started to break out. We do see that Chicken is all by his lonesome, besides a nice little Aurora nearby. Gun speed has been started by Just Q. We do see that Airplay is moving in with his commander and his supporting units. Looks like it's going to be a 1v0 fight in the southwest here for Team 2's. For Team 1's player of Spectral Slave has not engaged personally, but is sending a host of T1 spam. Decent amount of Salens in there. I would like to have seen maybe some scouts. I guess they are technically, well, they're combat scouts technically, so they kind of act as a little bit of both. We do see a couple of regular tanks alongside them. Lots of units being diverted to this western side. Of course, the comm not being there will put a damper on the attack power that Spectre Slave has to bring to bear. But at the moment, he is tying down Team 2's for underneath a host of incoming units. We do see again this 2v1 scenario working greatly in Team 2's favor. These units being whittled down here by Chicken getting some veterancy on board that commander. And of course, Air Player moving in with his units. We do see that gun upgrade has been done. This is now moving into force Chicken back. Again, lots of Aurora, very open for some overcharges to get double kill, triple kill, quadruple kills going down over there. In the north, T2 coming online here for MSG, T2 coming online here for Lou. We see he is falling into the low reds. Cups is actually on the other side of the water. We see this kind of reversal happen where Team 2's comms push forward. They push Team 1's comms into the water and then get pushed back. And now Team 1 was on Team 2's side of the water, denying Team 1 the retreat. Stealth has been started for Lou. He's now back up in the yellow. Pepe is still in the red, but he is slowly repping up, of course. We do see that Cups is just kind of sitting there waiting. Of course, this is what Team 1 and Team 2 can see. They're like, hey, why don't we get some torps down here and deal with one of these commanders, if not both of them. We do see a counterattack here in the northeast by Team 2's Lou going after the main, well, not main facilities, but the northeastern facilities here for MSG. MSG trying to keep them online. Lots of labs, as well as a couple of Mantis trying to drive these Seraphim forces away. We do see that a couple of Yenzino online here for Pepe's, again, forcing Cups back into the water. So a lot of players here kind of just teetering between, not necessarily life and death. Some are life and death. Some of them are like, okay, above water, below water, above water, below water. Just constantly going back and forth. What is nice about this is that these Aurora are able to take out the engineers and now the torpedo launchers that have been built here from Team 1, allowing these comms and other units inbound here from Team 2 to really punch in and continue to drive Team 1 back. Team 1, again, the comms are staying put, but we do see some bombers diverted to this as well. We do see in the southwest fighting kind of just died down for a while. One comm on Team 2 going for T2, one comm on Team 1 going for shield. Already has range on board, probably go for advanced range here shortly. We do see in the south still Furfur is uncontested in terms of a comm action here. Spectre Slave still in his position, spamming out a lot of units and upgrading his mexes, trying to scale his eco as quickly as possible. And we do see that in the northeast, Team 2's Lou has all but driven off MSG, trying to keep as many units online. And these facilities are going to go down. There's maybe one that's going to come off the assembly line. Nope, that one does not finish. This one will, but one is not going to do anything in this engagement, and Team 2 will win that corner of the map. Granted, it isn't that strategic in terms of it's kind of, it's isolated. You can't really get units across this without a transport or, distance building and then building the facilities and then all that sort of thing. So it's kind of more investment than Team 2 probably would like. So it is a benefit to Team 1. But again, those are 2 mexes that he's not getting back anytime soon, at least for now. We do see that MSG is on the edge of the water, going after a lot of these labs, trying to just run by this position. MSG is falling into the yellow, but he does have T2 on board. So again, more hit points on board that commander. And of course, that will give him a little bit more of a buffer to play with, and of course, get his veterancy up online. We do see that Cup still in the water, is sitting at 1-star veterancy, and now nothing besides a nice, lonely little Yenzin. Technically, he's not in the water, but yeah, it's close enough. And we do see that there are, of course, comms for Team 2 moving in from Lou as well. And we do see Peppers is sitting actually in the corner over here, kind of just isolated here, very much using the environment to his advantage, protecting from any sort of attack vector from the south. The north, not the greatest situation in terms of that, but at least he's protected in some degree or the other. Again, the spam, the conga line continuing to just trundle on here for Team 1's Spectral Slave, keeping Team 2's Fervor under pressure. And he's really getting some veterancy up online here, almost at 2 stars already. He does have gun as well. We could see him go for stealth and nano here very quickly to really just continue to keep his comm up and running. Couple of PD being built and AA being built by Air Player, trying to again force Just Q back. He is bringing his blazes, his AA, and his shield, whether that is a mobile one or a personal one, to the front line. Lots of Team 1 units being ripped apart here. Air Player does have T2, I would imagine. Yes, he does, and he is starting to get those T2 units and actually sending them via transports, those are particularly engineers, to probably go for PD. He has gone for the more defensive style of going for more PD, more shields, more that sort of thing, while Team 1's player of Chescu has gone, again, for a shield on his commander, but is going for gun upgrades, trying to push with the advantage of the T2 units, and really trying to keep Team 2 at bay in the middle. And again, as a reminder, Team 2, this position is a 2v1, and we have 1 player on Team 1 occupying 2 players' attention. And again, in the west here, the player of Spectral Slave isn't even nearby the front line here. So it's 0v1. Is that going to work out for Team 1? Is that going to work out for Team 2? We'll just have to see and find out. We do see Nano Repair has been started for the Seraphim Commander of Pepe's in the water. Stealth has been started by MSG. And again, MSG is on Team 1, and he's on Team 2 side of the map. Lou getting some torpedo launchers online. These are T2. They pump out, of course, more damage. MSG essentially sitting between the water and the edge here of the land, saying, you can't get me. Nah. I think that's only one way to put it, I guess. I don't know. That sounded pretty not great. It sounded good in my head, and then when it came out, it didn't sound great. So ignore what I just said. Anyway, we do see that in the north, Team 1's Air Player of RNA does have T3 Air online. His mirror would be the Snow White player of Furfur. He has T3 Air online. Has Air Player dipped his toes into air. He has a Team 1 Air facility, but that's it. T2 land. T2 Air is also online here for Lou, going for those Corsairs. Anybody else on Team 1? Yes, we see T2 Air facility also online for Cup. So there are players that are dipping their toes into the air department. Some of them literally, if I can talk correctly, dipping their toes into the water. Corsairs inbound trying to drive off MSG. A couple of PD been built, either the T1 or T2 variety. Both will do here at close range. The T2 does go down. Lou goes back underneath the surface. Yenzing being peppered and tickled by these Cerberus PD. We do see the Corsairs coming in to assist, taking out the T1. And of course, the Yenzing will deal with the last remaining T2. Lots of interceptors grouping over here for MSG, going to try to scare away the Corsairs. And interceptors inbound here from Chicken, going to scare those away, kind of having a nice little back and forth there. There is this kind of possible air fight that is starting to brew. Team 2 being a little bit more aggressive with their ASF here, from Furfur. Team 1 being a little bit more conservative, kind of keeping them back a little bit. We do see that they're pushing in over here, but not where the ASFs from Team 2 are. We do see some assistance inbound from Air Player coming in to relieve a little bit of the forces from Furfur. There is a move that Spectral Slave could go, instead of just continuing to assault southward and going after Furfur, go east and intercept the supply lanes and possibly the commander of Chicken. But we do see that Furfur continuing to press, has 2-star veterancy, almost close to his 3rd-star veterancy on board that commander. Close to 30% more additional hit points and a little bit more regen. We do have some Yenzing sitting above MSG. MSG drops below 2,000 hit points. He pops out of the water. This could be his death here. We do see a couple of those Yenzin do get eliminated, and now he drops almost below 1,000. That Nanite T2 Torp Array, very, very powerful here. It's the only one in the water, at least the T2 variety. You can see it takes up essentially the entire water here, at least its range is the entire pond. We do see that Lu is now over here getting some wall sections to prevent any sort of land invasion that way. And Team 2 has regained control of this tiny little pond that is essentially a huge point of contention here for both of these teams. And in the northeast, again, not really a lot happening over here. We do see, of course, some radar facilities. Love to see that. I'd love to see more of them kind of in this lower section of the map. It's not the best scenario because Team 1 or Team 2 could easily just send forces around, but maybe getting a radar system up here, kind of protecting it with that little twin mountain hill thingamajiggy, whatever you want to call that, type of geographical formation, geological formation, whatever the word for it is. We do see that in the south, Furfur has now gained a little bit of a buffer zone between himself and his units. Unfortunately, those units are few and far between now as Team 1's forces continue to mount here. Spectre Slave is not stopping producing units. You can see, I hardly talk about it, but in terms of the unit count, he's sitting at 300 plus units, while everybody else is sitting at, 220, 200, 150. So he is really pumping those Team 1 units out. We do see that T2 is sprinkling in as well. So it's going to come down to, can Team 2 mount enough of a force with either T2 or T3 units, or are they going to get crushed under the weight of the hordes and hordes of Team 1 units inbound? It kind of reminds me of the Zergling rush, where you just spam a bunch of Zerglings and try to outnumber your opponent. We do see that some T2 PD built here by Pepe is being bombarded by missile fire from the west, from Cups. And again, the Cybran missiles, even if they're shot at, they do split and do cause some damage. Not as much as if the original missile was intact, but again, something is better than nothing. And now that PD is now eliminated. Sensor package is now done on Chicken's commander. He's going for gun range, going for now a gun advance range. And he does have a shield on board as well. Shield heavy. Still think it should be heavy shield, but that's my 2 cents on that for Just Q's commander. So he has almost the Aeon Sniper commander, just is missing the advanced range upgrade. We do see some mass being sent to Furfur. I wonder if he's building, it looks like he's just building some P-gens. Is he building a, no, he's not building an upgrade. He's running around with his commander. He has no nano, no stealth, just a gun. 3-star veterancy on board that commander. Lots of Zui fire, decent amount of THAM as well. I think I saw a couple of Yenzin. Yep, there's a couple of Yenzin in there as well. He is dropping pretty quickly, but he is getting a lot of veterancy, so it's high risk, high reward. Can he get to that 4-star veterancy and recoup some of his lost HP? I mean, the units here from Team 1 are dying down quite quickly. It's just Zui. He has to keep moving and not get body blocked and receive tons of AoE damage. And he's getting pretty close to that 4th-star veterancy. And he might get close. I don't think he'll get there. We do see, again, more overcharges, constantly throwing them out to deal with more and more of those units. Shield heavy has been started by Chicken's commander now, so we're seeing a little bit difference of a strategy here. Just keep going for more of the, just throw damage, throw damage, throw damage. And with the shield, of course, we do see Team 2 doing similar with the advanced range, but cannot fire as fast. So it's more about gathering intelligence and surviving as long as possible and keeping his opponents at bay. You can see that is the sensor package in full view there. We do see that T2 Navy is on the line in the tiny little pond that's over here. Is he going to build the cruisers? I'm assuming he's going to build the cruisers. It looks like those are the cruisers. Those are probably the cruisers. And they are those T2 Seraphim cruisers that I absolutely just adore in this game. Of course, they are very similar to the cruisers from the UEF faction that are not present, sadly. But I will go on nonetheless. You do see that the shield upgrade is now done for Just Q, and Chicken is almost done with his upgrade as well. So pretty much staying in par, but we did know that Just Q started his upgrade first and finished it first, but Team 2 did catch up, at least Chicken did. Almost caught up and almost beat him. Strat Bomber outbound from RNA going after Furfur's commander. He will take a shot, drops, of course, a decent chunk of hit points, and dies. He control Ks. He probably would have... No, I mean, there were ASFs from RNA nearby. don't necessarily agree with that. There are 2 Strat Bombers running around here for him. They have been kind of just left alone to their own devices. And that is the first kill here for Team 1. It's a 5v4 in favor of their side of the map, Team 1. I don't know if... I mean, Fervor probably would have died anyways. Maybe he could have lived a little bit longer, given his team a little bit more time to try to save him. I don't know. That'd have to be an answer down in the comments kind of scenario of, do you agree with that Control K or not? He was... I think he had, 2 or 3 more hits left, so maybe... But I don't think it would have made that much of a distance. Strat Bombers are inbound, going after the T3 P-Gens for Lou. And Lou is going to lose those 2 T3 P-Gens. There they go. Oh, almost the Cybran faction advantage coming into play, repping up a little bit of hit points per second. Those Bombers are eliminated, and those T2 P-Gens are safe. The facility was not, but the P-Gens were huge save here by Team 2. Of course, that faction bonus coming into play quite nicely. I do like the fact that the Cybran forces and everything just regens naturally. It's just a really cool feature. Obviously, it makes sense in the lore. I really do like that as a really cool thing that the Cybrans only have access to in the beginning. Obviously, other factions can get it with, you know, efficiency for units and structures and stuff, but they get it as a base, which is really, it's not a lot. But again, it is better than nothing. Something is always better than nothing. Lots of Harbingers inbound. Chicken is going to get outnumbered here, and he is in full retreat. Tons of firepower raining down on that commander. There are PD in this base here for Air Player. He has to get to those shields. If he gets to those shields, he might make it out of here. There are a couple of units inbound here from Air Player as well, and it looks like the Harbingers really much just leaving the comm alone. Oh, scratch that. Never mind. They're like, oh, yeah, we can go after the commander of Chicken. Chicken is dropping very quickly here. Sub 10,000 hit points. Sub 9,000 hit points. Gets underneath that shield coverage. The shield will go down. Air Player coming in to assist. He doesn't have a lot of firepower, but he will bring his comm to bear nonetheless. And will it be enough? I think it will. And there goes that attack. Of course, decent amount of efficiency and a decent amount of reclaim for Team 2 to scoop up. Chicken now at 3-star of efficiency, and now we see the horde of units have now overtaken the southern section of the map here, at least the southwestern section of the map here for Team 1. And that's partly due to the fact that, of course, 1 player dead, less APM, less micro, all that sort of thing. And that's just kind of a show of that, a visual representation of that. In terms of the game overall, Team 1 and Team 2 sitting at about 1,000 mass each. Looks like Team 1's barely ahead of them. The number, of course, keeps shifting because of reclaim or power outage, whatever the case may be. Team 2 has lost the only play of the game so far, that being Fervor. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you did enjoy this cast or have enjoyed it so far, why not leave a like button? Why not subscribe? Those things are free. Why not share this video with your friends? Because why not? Why not? That's my question to most of those things. Why not do it? We do see that gun has been started here for Pepe's commander. He has gone for the advanced nano, regen, and that's going to give him a ton of hit points per second, 230 currently. We do see that now MSG being overrun by Othams, and it's either he sits underneath the surface and gets bombarded by missiles, or he gets above the surface and gets bombarded by fire. We do see he does have a friendly little monkey nearby. MSG's commander is dropping. He is sitting at 112 hit points per second, though, so nothing to scoff at there. Those cruisers coming in huge here for Pepe's, really just driving home the fact that Team 1 needs TMD as fast as possible. They do have some back here, but they're in desperate need of it everywhere on the map. That Chicken just taking unnecessary amounts of fire. We do see long range able to take out some of those hover units, but of course the units underneath the surface are not able to be targeted. There's also some bricks down there for Lou as well, so lots of forces building in that pond. It would be very funny and sad, depending on your view, of a nuke that lands there and kills everything off in the pond, even though it can't really be directly targeted. It can be by a nuke, but that's more of an indirect kind of fire versus a direct kind of fire. It's like artillery, but very explosive. We do see that sniper bots have entered the fray here for Just Q, trying to push back the front lines for Team 2. Team 2's commander of Chicken gets on a transport and immediately moves over to help assist the western flank here. Team 2, again, has been pushed back. They have been exiled of the southwestern section of the map. They do have a little bit of the height advantage in terms of the high ground. It plays a little bit of a role in FAF, not as much as in other games like Bar, for example, where that height advantage does make a difference. But it looks like a lot of Harbingers are being spammed up out of these nearby facilities to be able to recoup the losses, push back their opponents, and continue to protect their homelands. We do see that a couple of bombers are inbound, a couple being about a squadron. Looks like they're going to hold position, maybe going after a shield emitter and then snipe it out with one of those long-range units of like the snipers. We do see, again, cruisers being spammed up here by Pepe's. It is a good strategy. Constantly keep your opponent just building more TMD, building more defenses, constantly spending that mass on defenses instead of on attacking you. It is definitely a strategy. Does it work every time? Absolutely not. Can it work? Yes, it can. We do see possible fire-based wars here, but it's primarily going to probably just be, here's some units, here's some defenses. There you go. That's it. Nothing's really going to happen. Scout, or Scoot, I should say, for Nuke, says Furfur. And Furfur is still helping from beyond the grave, so even though he was a little bit frustrated at his teammates, I do appreciate the fact that he is still in the game, still trying to help out, still trying to, again, relieve the pressure that is, you got this thing to worry about, this, you got MASH, you got scouting, you got units, you got upgrades, you got all this stuff you got to worry about. And Furfur's like, hey, you should do this here. Hey, you should scout. Hey, you should just, again, just kind of like, hey, these are things to remind you about, because as the game goes on, just like as casts go on and I forget how to say or speak English, players forget stuff. I forget stuff. Everybody forgets stuff. It's just a fact of life. Send GC here, says Furfur, talking about sending the GC in against these now 2 monkeys. We do see that team, again, technically there's 1 because Team 2 has a monkey, Team 1 has a monkey, and we could see the first major land battle happen. We do see the Harbingers are pushing back at the huge amount of units. We do see a couple of Optims in the mix here, and a lot of them are being churned out now. Looks like Spectre Slave has transitioned from T1 to T3 tech. Couple of gunships also just hanging out there, some Volthus. We do see that the Bricks and the Monkey have now vacated the premises of the water and have started to push back their opponents. Couple of mexes going offline here. That is no ifs, ands, or buts here. Those mexes are going down. We do see those Loyalists actually redirecting some missiles. We do see, of course, the cruisers do have TMD, but they're still redirecting them, so that is something. We do see that, of course, the Monkey engages that Brick Force. Monkey has fallen back. This Monkey is fully revved up in terms of hit points and almost at 1-star veterancy. We do see this Monkey Lord has taken significant damage, but is almost close to its 1st star. So it could get it before these 2 monkeys are fully in range of one another. MSG is continuing to retreat. Team 2 does not know where he is. Any experimental here says Team 2 Fervor says there is a spider there, and yes, there is. Monkey will get that veterancy. We do see the Optims turn and start to fire on the Monkey, and we do see that the Monkey from Team 2's Lou does actually pull a little U-turn. Actually, not really a little U-turn. Actually, kind of just shifts south for a little bit and continues to go west, going after the Pigeons, crippling Team 1's Cup's power. And all 3 of those T3 Pigeons are down in flames. What has that done to his power? It's not great. He's getting some power from his teammates, but that is not looking good here. We see both of these commanders are fleeing in the face of that Monkey. T1 bombers are being spammed up to try to deal with this Monkey, and these comms are get away from this thing. Gotta go. See ya. Bye. Not staying nowhere near that. Monkey Lord now at 4-star veterancy, almost at 5. T2 PD being spammed up as quickly as possible, but they are tickle cannons, of course. They can only do so much. More TPD being spammed up over here for MSG, and Cup's going to turn and face the Monkey. Overcharges it, I think, a little bit, but does not kill it. And there goes a commander here for Team 1. It's now a tied game at 4v4. MSG shifts north because of that stealth upgrade online. Team 2 doesn't know. Well, actually, they do know where he is. But it looks like they're going after a different target. And it's possible they're not going after MSG because that could give another base to somebody else. We do see that there is a Colossus trying to chase said Monkey here, outbound from Just Q. And what has this done to Team 1's frontline over here? Well, MSG is suffering He's trying to, again, deal with the monkey with some assistance from his teammates, but also there's so much going just not great here for him. This facility's going down. This facility's about to fall. The monkey coming into range of the air grid. The long-range weapons are in range. A couple of T3 mechs is going offline. The monkey going to shift south, trying to avoid the PD, but that's not going to help. The Colossus might be in range. There it is. It is now in range. Will it get the mechs? No, it won't. It probably would have not gotten the P-gens anyways, but that was close here for RNA's air grid. But again, lots of damage. Over 50,000 mass at a minimum was killed by that lone Monkey Lord. And look at all of the damage now. MSG's base is in tatters. It almost doesn't even exist at this point. Most of his core mass is gone. Most of his auxiliary mexes are gone. Most of his P-gens are gone. Most of the everything that he owns is gone, except a decent amount of PD, some TMD, and a couple of mexes. But again, look at that. He's dropped a decent chunk compared with his compatriots. 200 mass per second versus essentially 300 and up. We do see that he's actually dropped another 100 because more mexes are being taken offline. And of course, we see another Monkey v Monkey fight. Team 2 wins that fight with some assistance from those missiles. Lots of T1 bombers are inbound to get revenge for their teammates, and they are coming in with a vengeance. It's probably about 50 or so of them by the time they do rain in. There's probably going to be about 20 or so. Well, it's probably going to be none with all the AA on board, the flak and the DQ. That's a lot of flak. That's a lot of cruiser fire. Good luck trying to get out of there. We do see there is a chicken versus a Colossus. The chicken wins that fight. Does it get a little bit of crash damage? Doesn't look like it. We do see a couple of Harbingers and Sniper Bots trying to edge their way around this main forest. The chicken going to intercept the Colossus over here. And while I was distracted, well, not distracted, but talking about this over here, Team 2's commanders of chicken and airplay push in and force back Just Q. We do see that Colossus that have killed off the Monkey Lord coming in to assist and trying to deal with this incursion. Team 2 has fought back quite considerably in the southwestern section of the map, really pushing back against Team 1. We do see that that water is just getting more and more dangerous. If there isn't an SMD here at some point, I feel like if Team 1 gets a nuke, they might just nuke it out of spite at this point, because that is really preventing any sort of air incursion. I mean, they can go all the way around, but by that point, Team 2 can easily intercept. For the most part, it, again, adds more time. Lots of AA. Gunships starting to build here for Lou. The air fight hasn't really happened, at least in terms of what I have seen so far. Of course, something could have happened while I was distracted. 60 ASFs here for RNA, and for, I'm assuming that would be Lou. He's sitting at 76, so a little bit in favor of Team 2. Also has some gunships online with some AA capabilities. Is anybody else? Is Air Player in the air game? He is. Look at that. Couple of ASFs. Hey, he is in the air game. Look at that. We do see he is also expanding his air game as well. And we do see T3 air facility possibly going to be built here by Pepe's. Possibly will just go for straight not the fighter bombers at this point and going for more mass fabs. We do see in the north SMDs coming online. More shields coming online. Love to see that, especially earlier in the game, just in case artillery or any sort of nasty little missiles come into range. They have some sort of protection. Chicken and Colossus and Chicken here for Team 1. That's 2, 3 experimentals. Team 2 has 1, 2 Colossi. The comm of Chicken is actually decently far forward, especially it being at 30+ minutes. We see this decent army of T3 plus those experimentals. Not a lot of AA. That's the one thing I would add to that mix. And shields. Those are the two things I would add, actually. Chicken and AA. Especially with the Seraphim T3 mobile shields. That definitely would add a lot. Or the Asams. Just something. Something is better than nothing. Kill this with nukes, says Furfur. Does Team 2 have a nuke? That makes me think that Team 2 has... Oh, there it is. The nuke has just been built by Lou. He's got to spend that extra mass somehow, and he's putting it into a nuke. And that thing is probably going to be loaded here very quickly. We got to keep an eye on that. We just look at the map control here for Team 1. It is dwindling severely. MSG has really not fully recovered. His main base, his main core mass has, but look at all the mexes that were under his control just evaporated here. Just annihilated off the map. We do see, again, Team 2 sitting at over 50% of the map. Obviously, a lot of that from the middle being kind of just no man's land, dead zone, And a lot of that over here also being from that little pond. There is an experimental. It is a chicken underneath the surface of the water. So Team 2 has a little bit in store for Team 1. Will this go T3? Will this facility go T3 Naval Headquarters? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it specifically for as small of a pond. It'd be different if it was a Cybran T2 facility and you can go for Salem's and you can actually march your naval units across land. I don't think it'd be worth it because that is pretty easy to counter with T2 artillery. It's just kind of this kind of weird, you know, rock, paper, scissors kind of scenario where you could go for this, your opponent could counter with this, you could counter with that. It's not really cut and dry sort of thing. We do see in the southwest, though, 3 chickens, 2 Colossi. This one most likely going to be transferred over to Spectre Slave. Pushing in lots of Team 1 spam down here. Tons of Zooies. I'd probably say at least 70. Oh, no. Scratch that. 150 Zooies. 159 Zooies. 150 Zooies. There it is. That is a lot of Zooies. Team 2 does not have a lot of defenses in terms of PD shields. Experimentals, they have 2 Colossi. That is it. We do see these 3 chickens are marching forward. I will say this. The kind of dark green color scheme accented by the kind of dark gray colorization on the chickens looks very good, I might add. It looks very, very good. Side note of that. We do see, of course, these chickens and Colossus and other units just ripping through Team 2's defenses. So while Team 2 got a huge win up here to the north, it looks like Team 1 is going to get a good victory. A decent amount of damage here. There are more Colossus inbound, though. Second one for Team 2's chicken is online. There's one about to stand up, so that'll be number 4 for Team 2. And, of course, Colossi trying to just poke and prod at the incoming units. Lots of PD in this base. A ton of them, actually. And a couple of miasma as well. T2 artillery. And they're ripping into this Colossus inbound from Just Q. Looks like there was an attack possibly that could have happened here from Team 2, but looks like it fell back. And the Colossus kind of just patrolling the water, essentially trying to distract all of those cruisers. And a couple of those cruisers taking some flak from some blazes nearby. Team 2 doesn't have any sort of direct weaponry that can deal with these. Definitely unfortunate, especially with those laser weapons on board the destroyers. Strap bomber inbound, going after a couple of those AA units. ASF coming in to cleanse the area of gunships. We do see gunships stacking up here. Team 1's RNA not sending his ASFs in. I don't blame him, because that will be an easy win for Team 2. We do see a decent amount of Natha stacking up. Corsairs, I mean, could come into play as well, but it looks like it's just going to be gunships and Nathas and T1 bombers and a bug, because why the heck not at this point? Colossus does go down for Team 1. Second Colossus goes down for Team 2. Gunships inbound going for the chickens. Not deciding to go for the Colossus, interestingly enough. Feel like they target a 1 unit first they move in. ASFs are provoked from RNA. The ASFs from Team 2 try to engage. They scare them off. And now the Natha fighter bomb is moving in. Good engagement here from Lou. Ripping into those ASFs quite nicely. Gets a really nice first turn there. That could make the difference. And it pretty much does. There is some AA to note underneath this engagement from Team 1. It's a decent amount. And it looks like Team 1's RNA actually will win that fight. Looks like Team 2 was going to win it, but I could have been wrong about the numbers at the current moment. And, of course, the chicken has been eliminated. Bug going to be eliminated here, and that is a huge pile of mass here for both teams to scoop up. I thought Team 2 had air advantage. We see more ASFs here for air player. So that will be a thing that Team 2 could bring to bear, is a lot of air power. Team 1 does have some facilities and their own nuke online, but not as many as Team 2 in the air department. We do see more being built all the time. Also, secondary nuke up here for RNA. Looks like that's the primary. That's the secondary for Spectre Slave. And we do see the unfortunate thing for Team 1 is, even though they won the fight in terms of the air battle and decent amount of the land battle, the mass is closer to Team 2. And you can see this kind of slow encroaching army. It's going to give a decent amount of time for Team 2 to reclaim a lot of the mass. That most of it is theirs. There's a decent amount from Team 1. Over 200,000 mass on the field overall. Almost 200 of that 1,000 200,000 just on screen here. So there's about 225. So 25,000 mass roughly elsewhere. 200,000 mass. That is game enders worth of mass on the field. And not necessarily only on Team 1's side of the map, but of course we see engineers, and of course more engineers inbound. Lots of AA trying to delay either transports bringing in engineers or just ASFs trying to secure the area. There are 3 experimentals inbound, again trying to secure more of that reclaim field, but both Airplayer and Pepe is getting tons of reclaim out of this. We do see that Team 2 sitting at 172,000 mass reclaim, Team 1 at 193,000 mass reclaim. Team 2 sitting at 2.3k mass income, Team 1 at 1.9k mass income. Is that nuke loaded? No, it is not. Looks like Team 2 being assaulted by MSG's commander. Those pigeons that were trying to be bombed earlier, unfortunately, are down. The nuke is inbound from Team 1. Nice 1-2 punch here from MSG. And Team 1's RNA bringing in the nuke and bringing in the teleportating, laser commander. MSG will die for this. Will he kill the nuke? Yes, he will. The crab is really what did MSG in, but unfortunately for Team 2, that is going to be a nuke landing. Do they have a backup SMD? They have one here. It is loaded. Is that nuke going to rain in over the... Yes, it is. It's going to land on top of all these forces stacking up in the water. Cook-a-boom! Takes out the facilities, takes out all of those Othams down there. I'm probably going to say 50,000 mass killed with that nuke. Almost 50,000 nukes. And yes, it did kill a little bit more mass than it was cost to build it. But the fact that it took out so much T3 units, it's going to stop Team 2 quite severely. And of course, the facilities are gone. So those T2 naval headquarters and the other one will have to be rebuilt. That's going to take a little bit of time to get back up and running. But in that exchange, Team 1 did lose a player and is now 4v3 with RNA inheriting everything that MSG had remaining when he died. Crab online, diverted to the south, going after the chicken. The chicken threat is mounting here for Team 1. We do see a couple of strap bombers die on impact, but of course are able to drop some sort of bombs. The mass reclaim operations for both teams going underway very nicely here. We do see the numbers are starting to tie and now kind of stay steady for now. I could see Team 2 starting to take the lead, especially with the greater half of the reclaim down there. Gunship says Airplayer. I missed the click there. There we go. Oh, possibly talking about going for the Colossus with gunships is possibly what he was talking about. ASF's, of course, still holding position in front of the main base here for Jescu, who might be going for a artillery replacement after he's done with his Colossus. The second nuke for Team 1 about to load. RNA's nuke is halfway done, so about 2 nukes soon to be online. The second and the third one going to be loaded here shortly. Team 2, are you going to rebuild your nuke? No, they're going to go for artillery for chicken. Artillery almost done for Pepe's. We do see that Lewis is kind of hanging out over there. And more SMDs are being built, it looks like, and loaded to protect against Team 1's nukes. We do see a couple of Colossus still battling out against the ever-ending chicken war. And, of course, continues to rage on between the Aeons and the Seraphim. Chicken will go down. This chicken almost dead. We do see more Colossus inbound. That's going to kill this chicken off. This chicken will be forced to retreat. This crab needs to push in just a tiny smidgen more. That chicken is going to go down, and it actually might net even more mass for Team 1. But unfortunately for Team 2, there is a nuke, and it's going to land right here, essentially between the experimentals for Team 2 and the engineers for Team 2. There's going to be a lot of dead engineers. Of course, probably won't yield a lot of mass killed, but it's going to be something better than nothing. And, of course, it will land. And, of course, once it lands, I will say my line of kaboom, depending on how explosive it is. They might get a Colossus or two. If they do, they'll probably get this one at a minimum. And that nuke is sailing overhead, makes the turn. That Colossus, I'm sorry, my friend, is dead. There it goes. All those engineers are gone. A couple facilities are gone. Kaboom! Did not kill, of course, as much mass as the other one did. But, of course, it does halt the expansionary efforts of the engineer reclaiming efforts. I think that made sense. For Team 2's southern... Well, I mean, they're they're players that are in the southern section of the map. I wouldn't say they're southern players because they're kind of more eastern. Anyway, that's kind of getting semantics at this point. Experimentals being built by both teams. Artillery is done for Team 2's Pepe's. Will he continue to build a second one? Interesting enough, he's built some mass fabs instead of shielding, and he built a T2 air headquarters. Very interesting set of structures here. You don't really see mass fabs next to PGens who are connected to artillery, who are also connected to an air facility. It does cut down on the price of power, but very volatile. Very, very volatile. Needs to get more shielding. We do see the emissary here for Chicken about half done. There it goes. It ticks over the 50% mark. Team 1's artillery, is it done? We do see it was being built. Yep, there it is. It is over half done. We do see another nuke about to be loaded for Team 1's Spectre Slave. And I saw it. I didn't miss it. Team 1 with a huge effort for going for a Scathis. We do see that, of course, there is a nuke nearby. Lots of PD. Engineers reclaiming PGens just in case that engineer actually dies. That's not fun. But I love this just line of shields, line of PD, line of everything. Love to see it. Also some stealth fields that try to shield this position away from Team 1. From Team 2. It looks like Team 2 is just targeting the nuke and accidentally going after some facilities. It's kind of just in the nature of how wide the range on the artillery is in terms of like how wide of a shot it can hit or shoot, land. The scatter, I don't know, whatever the phrasing is. Everybody knows what I mean, I hope. And for those that don't, I'm sorry. Hopefully you at least understood some of what I said. But look at this. 1, 2, 3 crabs, 2 Colossus. Team 1 has 2 Colossus, 1 badly wounded chicken, 1 kind of semi wounded chicken, and 1 fresh off the presses chicken. But of course the range is with Team 2, 3 crabs. That, of course, will lead to very interesting endeavors. And the reclaim is going to be nuked once again. But we see these engineers hastily getting as much of it as they can. Team 2 sitting at over 370,000 mass. And that number has climbed significantly just because of the 2 major fights that have occurred here. No wonder Team 1 wants to nuke it. Unfortunately, most of the mass was already reclaimed. And it looks like they'll get most of the remaining experimental wrecks by the time that nuke lands. There it goes. It is inbound. Will the chicken wrecks disappear? They will anyways. At least this one will. Kaboom! Oh, look at the poor engineers just trying to feed their families, provide for their empires. And they are killed because of it. And I think that was RNA's nuke. 50,000 mass. Well, they're both Seraphim, so it's kind of hard to tell. Maybe that was from Spectre Slave. Either way, the nuke did, again, halt the engineering efforts. Unfortunately, the engineering efforts were pretty much already done for Team 2. They've already scooped up, I'd say, 95% of the mass. So, was it a loss? Yes. Was it a great loss? No. Artillery online for Chicken now, pumping out a second one. We do see that, again, now we see Pepe's and Lou underneath the same shield with some PD. Team 1 and T2, both in the Seraphim. Actually, those are Cybran, and these are Aeon, all essentially within coverage of those 2 commanders. Team 1 does not have access to any sort of telemaser abilities. They lost that with MSG. Team 2 still has Lou who can do that, and that is it. The artillery raining in against one another here. It is the Emissary T3 artillery versus 1 Emissary T3 artillery and 1 Hubbatham T3 artillery for Team 2. So it is a 2v1, and the Scathis is almost done for Team 2's Lou. How is the Scathis going for Team 1? It is not even it is a little over half done, excuse me. So that is a huge advantage that now Team 2 has. 2 artillery pieces. The shields are offline. That's not good. But of course, the experimental artillery, the T4, the Game Ender, the Scathis is almost completed. We do see, of course, Pepe's coming in, not necessarily assisting the construction itself. We do see that a little bit, but he's mainly assisting the shield and SMD construction, which is great teamwork here. Trying to essentially, hey, I'll take the load of the shielding for at least a portion of it. My Seraphim shields are better, that sort of thing. And of course, it has provided huge dividends protecting that Scathis from artillery fire. Scathis is now shooting up its first volley in conjunction with the other 2 artilleries. for Team 2. Is there another one in waiting? Possibly, but I don't see it yet. Team 1, your Scathus is now in the green. Large amount of shields have been constructed. Maybe they'll even build a second one in this arrangement. Very pretty alignment. It's like a oh shoot, what's it called? It's like that scene from Episode 4, A New Hope, Star Wars, where Luke, Han, and Chewie are awarded medals. Or actually, technically not Chewie, but anyway, they're awarded medals by the Rebel Alliance for their efforts against the fight against the Empire at the end of the movie there. But it just kind of, that's what that reminds me of, just all the troops lined up, that sort of thing. The Scathus is actually reining in on the air grid, going after the P-Gens. What this will do is, of course, strip Team 1 of its ability to keep the shields, keep the keep the lights on. Essentially, their power bill is probably enormous at this point. And you can see the P-Gens here for RNA. I mean, a lot of them have been taken out. He's shifted some of his power reserves. Of course, the Scathus for Team 1 is online, and it is a fight between two beasts of artillery in this game. The two watering cans throwing water across the map, and in this case is very volatile. Is it hydrophobic? Oh, I forget what that material was. It's very hydrophobic. I saw it in one of my classes in college. Maybe it was in high school too, where it's just it puts it in water and explodes. What that was called. Anyway. Scathus fire raining in. Shielding not super great around the emissaries, and RNA control Ks. I don't see any P-Gens next to him, so that could have actually been a control K. And the Scathus goes down, and Team 1 recalls. Looks like they pierced the shielding just enough, and that was the game. Is there any comments about it in chat? I mean, it was a blink and you'll miss it kind of moment. Focus already with Scathus. Why giving now? Not 5 minutes ago. Yeah, just RNA gived up. I think, to be fair, with a Scathus plus 2 artilleries and a third one on the way, Team 1 had 1 artillery and 1 Scathus, so technically 2 artillery pieces. This grid was about to go down. Spectroslave was losing power. I don't know if that actually shows the exact numbers at this point. We do see Just Q still has a lot of power in reserve. But this base was going to go down. This base was going to be next. And then this base probably would have been targeted. Or even this one over here. And once the power is down, that's it. There's really not much you can do to really save the shields. If you can't spend power to keep the lights on, you're not going to last long. We do, again, of course, see Pepe's came in with additional shielding. We saw more shielding being built by Lu. We even saw a little bit of the kind of merging of the shields here for Chicken as well. So really kind of overlapping shields on top of shields on top of shields. And, oh, I didn't even notice this. Apologies. Airplayer had 2 emissaries. One of them just done, and the other one was obviously built for a while. So technically, Team 2 had 1, 2, 3, 4 artillery pieces, plus a Scathus with 5, soon to be 6. Apologies there, Airplayer. I didn't notice you have those. That's a lot of firepower. It would explain why they pierced the shielding so quickly on this area. We don't see a lot of, well, we saw some damage to these hives, but it looks like it was just essentially a snipe on that Scathus. And that is going to be it. MVP, I mean, I don't know. The meme play, the funny play was, of course, all of the cruisers, all the everything in the water. That was funny to watch and interesting to see. I don't know if that gets him MVP, though. I like him assisting, of course, the Scathus construction a little bit, and then also focusing on the shields. Love that. Airplayer did a really good job with Chicken of holding this southern side. I mean, that's what funded most of these projects, at least for both those players, was that group of mass. I mean, they got to spend it on something. Might as well spend it on artillery. And that was essentially it. So I got to probably give it to those two. I don't know who to give it to. Let me know down in the comments if you have a choice or not. Thank you so much for watching till the end of the video. If you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends, family, and especially your pets. And I will see all of you in the next one.